we play a little song, we rock a little bit, just you know, just so we can show him how great you guys have been, even though he was here last night and he saw. But he'll come back out as soon as I get you guys worked up into a lather. I came out much more sexual than I wanted. At any rate, let's rock. Ready? Yep.
That's coming off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that you looked over for Jared.
I did. Did you see that? Everybody guess that? I went.
Almost.
Oh. Well, let's make it official. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the people of New Jersey, Jensen Ackles. It's different.
It's different. It's different with the one chair. It's
right?
You know? Okay.
Yeah, sit
All right.
Sit backwards then.
All right.
Like it's here. There you go.
I forgot my phone backstage. I was going to. Well, shoot, we'll just do it right now. I wanted to record something for Jared. So I don't have anything in mind. I just was going to record you guys sending love his way. So, what's that? FaceTime him. No. Because that, yeah, no. I'd be mad at him if he did that to me. All right, let me just, hey pal, a few people here want to say hi. All right. We love you, miss you. Goodbye. Bye. All right, let's get this right way. It is strange, you know? It reminds me I'll tell you a tale. When I was shooting the heaven scene, driving the Impala in the final episode, and
Bring it down.
I got in that car and had this. I was driving down this highway up in North Vancouver, and it had a drone that was following me and filming me. So that meant that I was literally behind the wheel by myself in the car, no camera, no crew, no nothing, no Jared. And that was the last time that I drove the car on the show. And it was a little moment there. I was like, it's weird being by myself. It was weird not having my co-pilot. But he'll be back, he'll be fine, we're good. And because I am a highly codependent, clearly, I asked somebody to fill in for him. So if you guys don't mind, yeah, I was actually going to introduce Brianna, but he'll do.
This is awkward.
This is awkward now. Ladies and gentlemen, Misha Collins.
Hi.
How's it going, pal?
It's going okay. How's it going for you?
You know, it's going. We're going.
Yeah.
We're making it happen.
It is strange not having Jared anchoring the show. I realize without him here how much we all depend on him so completely. He's the only one who really shows up and gives attention to the fans. And I've noticed the thing that's missing, he cares about people. And obviously, we lack that quality.
Clearly.
Yeah.
No, he's really the oversized, hairy glue that keeps us all together here.
It actually is funny when we were doing the trio photo ops. Jared is literally the oversized, hairy glue that holds those photo ops together. I realized that we just stand there. He envelops us from behind, and that's how we do the photo. And today we were doing them. It was just you, me, and Alex, or you, me, and Mark. And none of us knew what to do. It was like each one was another awkward family photo.
That was it. Just waiting for somebody to come in and bring us together.
You're not lying.
But it smelled better.
It did. It did. Yeah, and there were less ass grabs during the photos. Mildly less. Jersey showed up.
This is something that I don't know how often we talk about this, but very often during photo ops with Jared will reach down and where no camera or other humans can see, will grab your ass and squeeze or pinch.
But it's not a caress. It's intended to inflict pain. So it's like, he's not like, oh, there's a tush. It's like, where's the bone? And let me get it.
Right, and so you do see a lot of photos where Jensen and my expression is like this.
But then in that same photo, you'll see Jared's face is like this. Because he's searching, and he's like, oh God, right there. That's the entire hamstring that I'm holding now. Good times. Good times. Yeah, you've been bruised.
Yes, I have.
In photo ops.
People don't know what we go through. We gird ourselves. We wear padding for photo ops.
This is true. Well, thanks for coming out, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is a treat.
Yeah. We don't really get to do this very often.
We don't.
We do it in Rome.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's usually after a long weekend of binging, and there's a lot of
television shows, like we binge, watch things.
Streaming services.
Right.
Us too.
Yeah.
What are you thinking
Us too.
about?
Yeah, what?
Shame on you.
Get out of here.
We're all binging at the same time.
We're all binging at the same time. So this is nice. This is cool. Let's take some questions.
Okay, great.
They're probably not going to be for you, so just, or maybe they will. You want to go that way? Okay, let's go this way. We're going to go. Which way do you want to go? We'll go there.
This does not work very well, does it?
Well, it does when Jared's here.
Hi, Jensen. I'm Misha.
Hey.
So I know you've been working on The Boys lately, Jensen, which I'm super excited about. So I wanted to ask you, what is your most memorable moment from being on set of The Boys?
I don't know that I can tell you that without giving away some spoilers.
Was it the first scene that you shot?
Well, that was memorable.
How could that not be how is it possible that that's not the most memorable?
Really? Yeah.
Oh my God!
Dude?
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not gonna spoil anything, I'm just gonna say, I didn't think that they could do that on television. And
They don't. They're doing it on a streaming service.
wow, that's amazing. I can't wait to watch.
Yeah, literally, like right off the bat, I could tell you 3 things that I'm like, yeah, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. So I can't wait to tell you my experience when you see what the experience was when you see what the final product ends up being.
Wow, Amazon is gonna be pissed at you for spoiling that. You're gonna be in big trouble.
Really walking the line, aren't I? Let's just say that there were some memorable moments. Yeah, in only a few episodes. So yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Thank you. Hi.
Hello. So, if I'm not mistaken, in the most recent episode of Walker, I saw a very distinct pair of bow legs. And if I'm right, I think that was you, Jensen. So, I know you've got a million other projects going on, but I was wondering if that means, there's going to be more of you showing up on Walker?
Like on The Boys?
That was actually Richard Spade, a fellow bow-legged friend. You can't sit down, can you?
No, I don't normally sit.
Right,
I like pace around
Do you
nervously.
pace?
Yeah.
You want to pace?
I am pacing.
Let's try it. I don't need to sit down. So, yes, that was me. And I'll tell you why. Because that is a role that is going to it's going to come out in the storyline. I don't think this season, I think next season. I could be wrong about that. So, what is it this season? Yeah. It's the end of this season. Yeah. Okay, so they're going to touch on Miles, which is the character. They hadn't cast that role yet. They didn't know who that was going to be, but they were like, yeah, we're going to have to get just a body double in there, somebody that's, yay tall and has a, like medium build, whatever it was. And I was like, okay, so we have to cast this person? They're like, well, yeah, we got to look at a whole bunch of like background performers. And I was like, well, I'll do it. And they were like, you'll play Miles? I'm like, hang on. Hang on.
Now you've really painted them into a corner because the actor who plays Miles has to be bow-legged. And that's a casting call that's difficult to make.
It is.
Like,
it is.
seeking bow-legged actor.
Seeking 6 to 6'2", roughly 200-pound bow-legged actor. So that's why it was going to be somebody that wasn't going to end up being the role, the actor. So we just got some hack to step in there and do it. Stop it! I'm auditioning. You've got a job. Oh no, he's a barista down at the. Yeah, he's got many faces. Two faces. Anyway, yes, thank you. Hi.
Hi. So this was originally just for Jensen, but it'll be for both of you. And I'm kind of going to switch it a little bit because Misha's here too. So Jensen, if you could play anyone in the Batman universe, who would you play? And Misha, if you could play anyone in the Boys universe, who would you play?
Well, I mean, Batman. Let's be clear about that. Yeah. I mean, I've gotten to do the voice. Why not get to play the Bat? Maybe somebody over at Gotham Knights could put in a good word for me. If that role ever comes up. I don't know that it will though, because they're pretty particular about that. Anyway, yeah, I would definitely have to go with Bats.
Did you see the latest Batman movie?
No.
It's kind of great.
I know. I'm not ready to. I'm not ready to invite another Batman into my world yet.
Is it because you are also a Batman?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
All right. I'm sorry. It is. It's a sensitive subject. Us other Batmen, we're a little hesitant to invite new ones in.
I get it. That makes sense.
Especially who used to be a vampire. I would like to see him. Did you see it?
I did see it. I thought it was great. Did you call up and say, hey, I hear you're doing a new... No, sorry.
Hey, I hear you're doing a new Batman. No, I didn't. It was after the fact. I said, hey, what the hell? What is this shit? Yeah. Okay, so The Boys.
I don't know. I mean, is The Boys universe a universe that Eric is creating as he goes?
He's expanding it.
So it was like a comic book series that he's extrapolating from.
Yeah.
See, I don't know the comic book series.
It's essentially, it's really all of the superhero types.
Right.
So you've got your Superman, you've got your Aquaman, you've got your Flash, it's all of those, but
archetypally speaking, what is yours modeled after?
Captain America.
Captain America.
Where is Brianna? Because fuck you, Chris
Since I
Evans.
let Evans have Captain America. You're welcome, Chris. This was a good set.
That must have been so much fun.
Oh yeah, especially those 3 moments that I'm talking about. Oh my gosh, have I not told you?
No,
Oh.
I just know that first moment.
You want to? I'll tell you later.
Hold your mic up to his ear while you're telling us.
Oh yeah, yeah. Come here. Let me hold my mic right here while I tell you. Yeah, so it's like pick any superhero. Who would you want to have the like totally messed up, screwed up version of?
Probably Captain America. That sounds pretty great. Can we do a recasting? Is it too late?
Too late, Doc. Damn. No, that ship has sailed.
Deadpool.
What? It's amazing. You really embody that role. Like, they're like, you're playing a superhero, and you're like, cool, got it. And then the next time I saw you, you were like...
Well, because I was having to fly out to LA for these fittings for the suit, because they hand build these things. I mean, they're like works of art. LJ, who was the super suit costume designer, she's fantastic. But I had to travel out to LA like six different times for them to build this suit. No. And each time, there's more progress. So I had to step on there like, okay, we got to do this, we got to add this. And at some point, I was like, where are you going to put the muscles? Like, where do those come into the process? And she, no kidding, because you look at look, I love Ant, phenomenal actor, but he takes his Homelander suit off, and it's like, what happened? So I was like, where are the muscles gonna go? And LJ just comes up, she was like, oh honey, you're gonna bring me some in April.
That'll light the fire under your pants.
That was it. No producer called me and said, we're gonna need you to put on 20 pounds. No, nobody, just LJ said, oh, you're gonna bring me a few.
Yeah.
You're gonna bring me some extra muscles when you show up. And I was like,
hey Daniil, I need a freezer full of chicken breasts.
that's it. I'm on an all steak diet for the next 4 months. That did happen. And then Kripke said, don't shave. That was it. He was like, don't shave. Don't get a haircut and don't shave.
I see. So you have a lot of body hair.
So
You look like a gorilla.
yeah, basically.
Got it.
Yeah. So that's how that went down. I don't know. Where were we? What are we talking about? Hi.
Body hair?
Hi, this is my first time here at one of these. So
Welcome. How's it going? How's your first time?
Jared usually asks this, as if I forgot. How many people here is this first time at a camp? Wow, okay, all right. I'm so sorry. It's,
No, you're not.
it's an epic failure at this point. No, good. Hi.
So I apologize if this has been asked before, which is a question for both of you. But over all 15 seasons, were there any storylines involving your character's development or personality that the writers didn't explore further that you wish they would have for either one of your characters or any on the show?
Yeah,
I think we might.
He wishes he had a raccoon right now. You wish you had a puppet, right?
I think that Castiel could well have been human for longer, because I don't think he got to explore as many different versions of what exploring humanity could have been. Like, for example, he ate toothpaste, which was great, but it would have been nice for him to really learn to brush his teeth.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
You didn't get to have a lot of sex, which was a little disappointing. There was there were some things that I think we breezed over what could have been a more interesting arc for the character. That's my one complaint, I would say, over the years. I was like, I feel like we got out of that too quickly. What about you?
Yeah, a couple. Purgatory, wish we could have stuck there a little longer. I really enjoyed that. Like, I just thought that was kind of a different element. It was filmed differently. They used a different film treatments on that particular, give it a different look. I liked it. But what's that? It could have been a whole episode. Oh yeah. I think it could have been like
A whole season.
multiple episodes. I thought that was really cool. But they had to get Dean back to topside. That was that. Also, I think Michael. Dean as Michael would have been cool to last a little longer and really explore that character. But I believe they had to get rid of that. Or maybe that was Dean and Dean. They had to do something for the 300th episode or It was Dean and Dean, yeah. They had to wrap that one up quick because they had to get me back to normal for the 300th episode that was coming up. So
I remember people ask sometimes, what was the worst day of shooting? And it was when we were crawling out of Purgatory. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah,
they had those giant Ritter fans,
and
it was like being in the exhaust of a jet engine, and they put it right on the gravelly dirt, and we were just getting like rocks and sand spit in our faces,
peppered
and
all day.
We're choking, couldn't breathe, black snot was dripping out of our noses, and they were like, "This is great, guys, it's looking great." I'm like, all right, cool, but my retinas are both scratched right now.
Right, yeah, it was hot.
It was hot.
So we were like sweating, and so all the dust and gravel was like sticking to us too, which was just made it that much better.
That was great.
But it looked great.
Yeah.
So yeah, those were a couple. Was there one that you wished would have gone on a little longer?
Well,
I agree. That one.
It all went on too long.
Purgatory was one that I was thinking of for Dean's character. I am a writer, and I'm writing a screenplay right now. We'll talk about it. But I thought the relationship between Benny and Dean could have been explored more while in Purgatory, and I think that there was an opportunity for the writers to create a couple short-lived characters in Purgatory as well that I was disappointed in not seeing. But I think Purgatory felt like a different type of show.
Yeah, I agree. Which was why I wanted to kind of explore that for a little bit. And I agree, Benny was certainly one of my favorite characters as a fan of the show. Like, I thought Ty did an awesome job, and I'm big fan of Ty as well. So, but I thought that character and that relationship I thought was really, really unique. But again, like that's not what the show is. The show is about the brothers. So I had to get back to my.
And the angel probably.
I mean, not really. So anyway, thank you. Good luck with the screenplay. Yeah. Bye.
Hi. Thank you for doing Book Bash, Misha. Really enjoyed that.
Oh, good.
A book-related question for Jensen, but I'd love to hear your answer as well. Jensen, in the past you've said The Fountainhead is your favorite book. Is that still true? Do you have any new recommendations?
What?
I think that was just the last one I had attempted to read. I'm not a real big book reader. I don't read a whole lot. It's no surprise to many people. As many scripts and stuff that I pour over and read through, reading is not something that has ever attracted me for like a pastime, something to do to relax or whatever. So
it's amazing to me how much the constant distractions of cell phones and other streaming services and everything encroaches on reading time too. I remember, I don't know if this is true of you, but when I was in high school and college, when I was much younger, I would read much more. I'd spend a lot more time reading because there was the time for it. But now that time gets co-opted by all these other little distractions and interferences. And
also, silent films were, just coming around. So.
If you wanted entertainment that wasn't in a book form, you had to go down to the picture house and listen to. They were playing on the accordion and to accompany the black.
And then talkies came and really kind of encroached again on your.
It really has changed. I think it's changing how brains work, though, in general. I'm looking at my kids and comparing that to my childhood when we didn't have anything else to do but to read. And now my kids are there's so many possible things for them to do at any given moment. And reading it's hard for it to, take center stage sometimes, which is kind of tragic, really, because it's a great way to fire up your imagination. I think. I don't know.
I wish that I read more. I wish that I mean, I don't know. Can I say this? I'll say this. I had a learning issue when I was young, and nothing. I think it was. I mean, they diagnosed it as ADD back then because that's what they diagnosed everything with. Really?
Misha? Yeah.
So I would read a page in a book that I had to read because I was giving a book report in English or something like that, and I would read the whole page. I would read every word, and then I'd get to the end of the page and be like, I have no idea what I just read. And I struggle with that today. It takes me a very, very long time to read anything. And when I read scripts, it takes me an extremely long amount of time to do so because I'm reading it very slowly so that I comprehend everything that I'm reading. If I try to read fast, I'll have no idea what I've just read. And so that always, that was always a struggle for me, and I just never, I was never really a big book reader because of it. So, yeah. Thank you.
I'm a special ed teacher, so my heart really hurts for what you guys are saying up there. But my question is, in the show, Sam and Dean are 4 years apart. I think their ages when they started 22 and 26. That's about the same age as you and Jared. I wondered whether the brothers' ages were already set or whether they wrote the brothers' ages to match you and Jared.
Yeah. Yeah. What a way to get attention for a question that's not about you.
Yeah, Norton.
Nobody wants to see that.
Stop when you play that music, I have to strip.
Why would you say that?
Getting back to your question, I believe it was written after the fact, and to correlate more with our actual age difference. Yeah, to kind of match us up a little bit. So that was that wasn't established in the pilot. So that was established later, and I think they did just kind of like, what's the age difference with Jared and Jensen? Let's just do that. Yeah.
They did the same thing for Castiel after I came on the show. They said, he's been around for thousands of years, they said. So.
Yeah, he would know what the picture shots were.
He watched sea animals evolve to walk on land.
Wow, thank you. Hi.
Hi. First of all, I want to thank you, Jensen, for how you and Jared portrayed the loss of a sibling on the show. I lost my brother back in 2017, so your show was really helpful for me, especially at the end. It gave me a lot of peace and things like that, so thank you for that.
Sorry for your loss.
Thank you. And of course, Supernatural was something I was really excited to just come back to and watch. So my question for both of you is, what is something that's really exciting coming up for you, either work or with your families, that you're looking forward to?
I'm excited about the new show that I'm working on, Gotham Knights. I'm excited to play a totally different character. I'm actually finding that I'm kind of excited to spend some time in a different city and get to know a new city, and actually spend a little bit of time on my own, which is not something that I've done a lot of. So I'm kind of excited about like the inner journey that's going to bring with it. You were in Toronto quarantining for you were like completely isolated there for like months, right? Did you go crazy?
I was already crazy going into the situation. That's right.
That's right.
Nothing changed.
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting kind of thing. Like you're almost in a cell, right? Like with the.
Well, it was 14 days of quarantine in an apartment that I had never been to before. They were like, you're going to land, you're going to spend 2 days in a hotel at the airport until your test clears, and then you have to continue to spend the rest of your 14 days wherever wherever your accommodations are. And so yeah, so I checked into this, or went into this apartment that I'd found and the production had helped find, and was like, okay, I'm not going to leave this threshold for 2 weeks. And I didn't. I stayed there for 2 weeks and just did 1 million push-ups.
That was the secret.
Yeah, it was quarantine. It was quarantine.
Just sheer boredom.
That was it. I finished Netflix and then I just did push-ups. That's. I'm also looking forward to a show that I'm currently working on, or not necessarily in front of the camera, but behind the camera. We're doing the Winchesters, which is exciting to expand the supernatural universe a bit. And I hope that everything goes right. I came here from that set. I'll be flying back to that set tonight, and it's going really well, which I quickly realized is if everything is going right, which pilot episodes, if nothing goes wrong and everything goes right, a producer has nothing to do. Because producing it takes place in the beginning, like you're putting everything together and finding the locations and getting the cast and doing all that stuff. But then once you're actually on the set and it's been working, you kind of are just there waiting to put out fires. And if there's no fires, it's like, wow. So being on camera, I feel like I feel like I'm out on the field playing. When you're directing, you feel like you're coaching, like you're there. As a producer, I'm like the GM in the box who's like, is the game over yet? But it is wild and crazy to think of that, an idea from 2 years ago is now being played out in front of me before my eyes, and it's really cool. And I hope everything goes right, it gets picked up and gets into a series just like Gotham Knights, and I hope you all enjoy it. If you don't like it, then that's fine. Feel free to hate watch every episode.
They're tough shoes to fill because all these people loved Supernatural, and if they don't love the prequel, you're like they're going to come burn your house down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If they don't love the prequel, then they really weren't fans in the first place.
I like your style. That's right. That's right. Shame on them.
That's right.
Shame on them for not having the vision.
Exactly.
To like.
How dare they not accept?
Shame on them. Makes me sick.
It really is. It's bullies. Just bullies.
Anyone who says anything negative about your prequel is a
Canceled.
bully. Is a bully.
Canceled. Go home.
I love it already.
It's like, I love it already.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Jensen. I'm Misha. I'm Allison. I'm very new to Supernatural. I just finished season 4. So
Oh my goodness.
it's interesting.
But you already have a uniform.
I know. I wonder
Wow,
who it could
good
be.
job.
Spoiler alert, he dies.
How dare you?
The vast majority of the audience didn't know that, Jensen.
Another spoiler alert, I die. About 130 times.
That already happened in season 3.
So, since you said Jared was the oversized, hairy glue that holds everyone together, if the Winchesters or Cass had a dog, what would it be?
Had a dog?
You mean a dog that was like riding around in the Impala with them? Probably, ideally, something like a Great Dane. Something that just fills out the vehicle and keeps us warm. Yeah.
I was going to say a Shih Tzu.
Maybe we need 2 dogs.
Mm-hmm. If you could choose a dog for the brothers and Cass, what kind of dog would it be?
I just rescued a dog from animal testing. He's a little beagle, so I'm biased. I think Cass would do good with a beagle.
A beagle?
Yeah, his name's Jesse. He's great. I think the Winchesters would do good with like a golden retriever or something, especially Sam.
I have a question, a follow-up question. If Sam and Dean and Cass were dogs, what kind of dog would they be?
Let's see.
Hi, can of worms.
Let's go with Sam first. What kind of dog would Sam be?
I can see Sam as my beagle. Very hyper, doesn't pay attention, doesn't listen.
No, I said Sam, not Jared.
Like beagle.
The ones that bring the booze.
Dean would be, I feel
Chihuahua.
like something intimidating but soft inside, like a German Shepherd.
I think you're right about that. I think it's a German Shepherd.
And,
Golden
Castiel.
Doodle.
A pug?
Somebody escort that man out of the room.
Any dog with a curly tail, basically.
Maybe a poodle?
That's my favorite question.
You only asked that question because you knew where it was going.
I did.
Sure.
I don't like that question anymore.
Oh, man. Point.
No, you may not explain yourself.
To be fair, she is, cosplaying you, so you win the point here. Thank you. That was fun. Hi.
Everybody is really excited about both of your new roles. I was just wondering who you think would win in a fight, if it would be Soldier Boy or Harvey Dent.
Soldier Boy. Let's see it.
What kind of powers
Well, the problem
does
is
Two-Face have?
Two-Face is just crazy. That's it. That's his
He
problem.
doesn't have
Which, by the
powers.
way, goes a long ways.
Yeah, that's true.
But it sounds like you're also crazy.
True. And Soldier Boy is crazy.
Right. And you're possessed of some superpowers, which complicates things for Harvey Dent, who is also, he's just crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Soldier Boy.
I'm gonna sadly agree on that one. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Point.
Thank you. No more questions. Thank you.
Hello. Before I forget, I promised my mom if I had the chance, Jensen, she loved you in Days of Our Lives.
Thank you.
I love you both very much. I'm very inspired by both of you. I graduated college last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm trying to just find my way through the world and whatnot, but my question is...
Good luck with that project.
Yeah, thank you.
It doesn't get easier.
And like artistic dreams and all that, but what is your advice for persevering through like rejection and negativity and all that self-doubt?
Just give up.
Never keep fighting.
There's so many times when I look back at my younger self and I think, oh, if I had just given up. Things would be so
Such a better place.
You look like you're ready to give up now. You're so crushingly disappointed.
Someone give her a
I
hug.
can't believe I looked up to those assholes.
I should have given them up. I'll attempt to give you a little bit of advice in that life is a game of numbers. You got to just keep trying. The more you try something, the more you do something, the more you figure out. That's something that when I get asked, how can I be an actor? I'm like, just do everything as much as you can and keep rolling that dice, and eventually, when it hits and you get something, you'll have learned so much from all the rejections or all the missed opportunities or the opportunities that didn't happen, that you'll be ready. So I kind of treat life the same way. It's like you keep doing things and you you keep grinding it out kind of thing. It's it'll be a struggle at times, but that makes the good times even that much more sweeter. So.
I would say also, if you're too focused on the outcome, I found this for myself anyway, when I was like, I need to get that job, I need to get that part, I need this show to go, whatever it is, that fixating on the outcome is actually was really unhealthy for me. Whereas if I just focus on doing my best at every step of the way, that's it. Do what is within the realm of your control. There are lots of things that are not in the realm of your control. There are going to be a lot of times when they're going to go with somebody who's a lot older or a lot younger or who is a different gender than you are, and that's totally out of your control. But you can show up and do the very best that you can do and know that within the sphere of your control, you're doing your best. That for me anyway, gave me a lot of comfort, because I used to struggle with rejection. Like I did not like it. And I got to a point where I was like, I'm okay, because I actually know I did my best. And that feels good. So there's my check.
And touching on what you just said, reminds me of when I was a young actor and I was auditioning and I was getting rejected and I wasn't getting these parts. I was like, what's wrong with me? And it is very much that, like, that's out of my control. So I switched my way of thinking of every time I went into an audition, that was my final performance. And I walked out and I was like, what's next? And every now and again, I'd get a call and be like, guess what? They want you to come back and do it again. I'm like, oh, okay, I'd already moved on, but happy to go back and do it again. Then that was my final performance. And I'm like, okay, what's next? Until they were like, they want to give you the job. I'm like, oh, great, I was already moving on to the next thing. So that just helped me mentally of like, you go in for a job interview, you're like, boom, laid it on the table. Okay, let's find the next job interview. So there you go.
How are you?
Hi.
Hello. Thank you for coming, and Misha, thank you for joining, because I've actually tried to ask you this question like 3 times already. Last night at dinner.
Next question.
I swear it's not bad. But is it strange for you, back then when you first started, or now even, to see yourself on people's shirts as you're walking past and interacting with them?
No, that feels perfectly natural.
Would you say it feels super natural?
Supernatural?
We've been trying the whole...
I don't know. That never gets totally normal.
You want to know what's weird though? Is the degree to which we acclimate to things. Like now, I walk around and I see my face on a t-shirt and I'm like, oh yeah, right. Like as if that's not the strangest thing imaginable. It is kind of bizarre the way that we step into the various roles that we're afforded in life, and whatever is happening becomes the norm, and it's strange.
I walked in a Hot Topic a few years ago. And I looked around and I was instantly Homer Simpson. Get me out of here. What is this stuff? It was bizarre. It's, yeah. But Misha's right, it is, certainly in this setting, it's like, oh, yeah. There I am.
I try to shield myself from it, kind of like what you're talking about. Like you don't. It's not like we go into Hot Topic and are like, look, there I am, this is awesome. It's like, this isn't right. It's not this I shouldn't be looking at. Same thing when I walk in front of a mirror naked. Same reaction.
Yeah, it looks like this.
I don't know.
This is Misha walking in front of a mirror naked.
I'm sorry, Beth, did you make it in the video? I'm not sure.
How would you know?
Misha. You gotta do Jensen for the mirror now.
Because when I'm in the room, I just do this. Can you put some clothes on, please? The rest of us have collectively decided that clothing is best suited for you.
Misha, everyone in the makeup trailer wants you to get dressed.
Put your pants.
Trish is mad at you.
And then Misha goes, thanks for noticing me.
There's a Charlie Brown thing.
And then he goes and puts his trench coat on. Hi.
Hi. First I have to shout out my sister. She loves you, Jensen. She's over there.
Hi, sister. From the back.
My question is, what's your go-to movie that you could watch over and over again and like never get sick of?
I have watched, the movies that I've watched the most are Groundhog Day, which I think is a fitting movie to watch over and over again. The Man Who Knew Too Little, which is another Bill Murray movie. It's fantastic, underrated. I don't know why everyone doesn't watch it all the time. And probably The Big Lebowski.
Oh yeah.
I can't get enough of any of those.
That dog really ties the room.
I'm trying to think of like different genres because there's several, right? But like, pick a genre. Like for action, I could watch any of the Indiana Jones. For comedy, there's many, but I'll just pick Tropic Thunder. Watch that one a lot. For like drama.
Can we still even get Tropic Thunder? Isn't it like there's a blackface character in that? Can we even watch that anymore?
Ooh, I don't know.
It's probably removed from the streaming services at this point, is my guess. No, it's still there? Yes, you just watched it? Shame on you.
She dressed up as that character for Halloween last year.
Oh.
Just kidding. And then No Country for Old Men.
That's a good one.
I mean, really any Coen Brothers, Lebowski, like if that's just on, I'm like, well, there goes the next 2 hours of my life. So, yeah. What about you?
I love any Harry Potter film.
Did you say the new Harry Potter film?
Any of them?
Any Harry Potter, yeah. There are 8, right?
Yeah.
Boom, knowledge. I mean, I read all the books. Not a one. Not a page. Thank you. Hi.
Hello, welcome to New Jersey.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank you. We're all here because of the wonderful alchemy that happened between the creator, the writers, and such a talented cast. And asking you as actors, with both your characters from Supernatural and the new roles that you're moving on to, internally, that's how you connected us to your characters. What was the easiest characteristic of your character for you to portray and the most difficult to internalize and bring and make real for us?
Great question. I'll start. I would say the easiest was probably the grumpiness of Dean Winchester. And not because I'm grumpy, but because I think I was able to be grumpy through him, which enabled me to not be as grumpy in real life. And then the difficult one was probably...
You were working out your anger issues on set?
Yeah.
All the time?
Yeah.
Great.
Not anger, just...
Grumpy? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, just my Mark Shepard issues. And then probably the most difficult one was, and this is, I've said this before, was being Dean while Sam was soulless Sam. because it was hard for me to play Dean relating to his brother when his brother wasn't his brother. And I felt like I was kind of like lost because I didn't have that relationship on screen that I'd relied on with Jared. And which is a testament to him and how well he did it, because I was struggling on camera because I didn't have that relationship available to me. So that was probably one of the biggest struggles I ever found. And it was surprising to me. I'm like, get your crap together, dude. Like, come on. But it was just, yeah, it was like all of a sudden I was playing blindfolded, and it was difficult for me.
That's interesting. I had a couple of things. What is coming to mind is not terribly flattering to myself, but I'm going to tell this anyway. When Castiel came on the show, he was like, the character was written as this like warrior of God, right? Like he was a soldier and a fighter, and very quickly the character was, over the next few episodes, was rewritten as this sort of like awkward, socially awkward, dorky fish out of water, which I think was the writer's adaptation of what I was bringing to the table. It went from like, yeah, some fucking badass angel to nobody knows how to deal with this weird and I think that ended up really like manifesting quite physically at one point. I've told this story before, but you were at the monitors in the other room, and it was Sam was what's his name? He was possessed by Gadriel, and Gadriel, whatever, and Bob Singer was directing, and he liked those like grindhouse, like direct, like 1970s style shots. And his idea was like I was going to punch right at the lens, and that was supposed to be me punching out Gadriel, right? You were at the monitors. We did the first take. You're in the other room. We're in the kitchen of this house, and you and Bob and everybody else back at the monitor starts laughing, and you come out and you're like, that was hilarious. And I was like, what was hilarious? And you looked at me like, you were joking? And then I got the playback.
That was the last punch Castiel ever did. Like, maybe he could just do this.
Kind of true.
That was good, man. That was good. And Bob Singer he was raised in Brooklyn and was like,
he was a fighter.
He was literally a
boxer.
Golden Glove boxer. And he's a southpaw too, so like he knows how to throw a punch, and he couldn't stop laughing. And like to make Bob laugh is like,
he doesn't laugh.
That's a high bar.
Yeah.
And he was just, it was the silent Bob laugh. It was the and like he'll tear up. He'll like if something gets him, it's fantastic to watch.
Yeah.
And that got him really good.
Yeah, I'm really happy to have brought him the joy.
I don't know why the face has to be this too. Was there a question somewhere?
Did we strike that from the record? I object.
So Misha, you're saying the
Overruled.
physicality of Castiel is easy for you to...
You mean...
So what was...
Yes, his posture, that was the easiest part of playing Castiel.
What characteristic of Castiel is most difficult? I mean,
Throwing a punch.
Throwing the punch was... Thank you. I feel like we already went over this. I don't know how much more badly you want me to feel about myself. Thank you.
Uh-oh. Okay. You go get her. All right, that's the last question. And don't bring her up on stage. No, yeah, all right. This is the last question. This is the last question. You know what time it is? It's the last question. No, it's actually 3:30, but it's the very last question. That's a good thing. It's the last question. Have a seat. Last question. This is the last question. Hang on real quick. I'm going to sing a Rob. Is that fine? Okay. This is the last question. This is the last question. Feel free to talk. This is the very last question. Come on, get it. This is the last question. If you want to sing it. Did make that one. Did make it through that one.
You want to join it?
I've heard this from backstage.
And had no idea what the hell was
had
happening.
no idea what was going on. This is good to know. I mean, it's peeling back the curtain and seeing the dirty things that go on.
The gross, tired bits that we continue to do.
Seeing the sausage made.
I'll allow it.
Hey, that was me in Vegas.
Supernatural family, say hi to
Jessica.
Hi, Jessica.
Jessica. What is your question?
My question is, there's so many heart-wrenching scenes in the show. What is the one that got you guys the most?
That's a good question. That's a good one. Mish?
My declaration, sorry, Cass's declaration of love that got me. It also was the scene that I had to like put myself in a little bubble and really like protect my actor self for. On Supernatural, I'm revealing something that I probably shouldn't be revealing, but I'm going to. We fucked around a lot on set.
What? Really?
Yeah, it's true. It's really true. But that was a scene and a night where I really just had to like let myself be in that scene, and it was also my last scene on the show ever. So it was Cass's goodbye. It was my goodbye to the cast and crew. And it was goodbye to a long run and a big chapter in life. It was very, very meaningful to me in a lot of ways. Rob Hader, who was our stunt coordinator, I was just like, I did something I never did on Supernatural, which is like, I just went off into a dark corner of the stages and sat on a folding chair and just like stayed in the emotional place. And Rob Hader saw me like off in the shadows, and he was like, just took care of me from a distance. He was just like making sure nobody came near me. And I never asked him to do anything. I never said a word. He was just like creating this little bubble around me. And then when for our first AD would like call us back to set, he would say, "Ready for you," and then escorted me so that nobody would like bother me. It was really, it was such a sweet thing to do.
Yeah.
But that for me was definitely. That was it.
I had, because it was such a pivotal moment on the whole the arc of the show was Misha's last scene, Misha's goodbye, Castiel's goodbye to Dean, and I had I don't know if I told you, I had Maisie, our assistant props,
Cheesy.
I gave her my phone and I said, will you just record some of these takes from offset? And you can hear her whimpering, literally crying while she's recording. And I've got some like, yeah, because you know, when you see it cut together and stuff, but it was just you and I standing there surrounded by lights and a camera, and it was, you know, just two guys hugging it out and saying goodbye. It was really,
Spade was directing, and he would come back from the monitors, and he was like, yeah, tears were coming down. Everybody was kind of crying, and it was just like, it was one of those moments. It was like the end for a lot of things, for a lot of people, and it felt real. I mean, this is cheesy, and it's difficult to articulate if you're not really within within the experience. But we played these characters for so long that they became a part of us, and that sounds really cheesy and actory, but it's actually true. Like when Cass was saying "I love you" and goodbye, it was like heartbreaking for me.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't discern who was like feeling the feelings at that point. And I remember, yeah, I mean, we've had conversations about this, like, you know, that dream you had about Sam and Dean and the end of the show.
Oh yeah.
And when you told me and Jared that, all three of us teared up.
Right.
Like we became so emotionally enmeshed with these characters over time that these things actually felt really meaningful, at least to me. But I think I'm speaking for you as well.
No, and in that scene, and I remember in that scene and when, on your coverage, watching you give this beautiful performance, but I was also watching my friend say goodbye. And that was, because there were some expressions in there that weren't Castiel. And I remember seeing that, and I think that broke me more than the scene itself, was witnessing Misha's goodbye to Castiel and goodbye to the show. And that was, whew, yeah, I mean, get misty right now just thinking about it. In the same vibe, it would have been my goodbye scene, which was, you know, very similar. It was, I didn't go away, I didn't sit anywhere because I didn't need to, because the whole crew left. And they were there for like the first take, I think, and then I saw just boxes of Kleenex and tissues being passed around. And I remember like Robin, our props, and Moira, our on-set costumes, and they like literally had to leave set because they were like just tears watching that scene. And
You also couldn't go away because you were impaled to a wall.
This is true. This is true. Yeah.
God damn it, Rob!
I didn't really have a choice in that one. That's true. And we're back. That was a hard one, and that one certainly left, because it was, you know, Jensen saying goodbye to not just Dean, but also saying goodbye to Sam. You know, and as a fan of the show, and as a fan of these brothers and these characters and these relationships, you know, that scene and the impalement scene were really difficult. I did tell Bob, who directed that finale, I said, "Listen, man, I got about 3 takes in me. I don't know if I'm going to have much left after that, because this is gonna take it out of me." And he's like, "That's all I need." So yeah, I think I did 3 takes, and it was that was rough. What about you, Rob? What's the scene you remember the most since you're here?
I mean, in terms of emotional, you know, for all of us, that last season, there were a lot of, "Oh, this is the last time we'll do this. This is the last time we'll do this," and it wasn't just the actors feeling it. Like you said, the crew was right there, also experiencing. Like people would break into tears just talking about these scenes coming up that you were going to have to shoot. And so for me, it was very emotional, even though it was like the last thing I shot was like me killing that dog.
Seriously?
I know it's one of your favorites. I know everybody. Thank you, big fan of my work. But No, but it was emotional because like that was it. And it was a nothing little scene really. All I had to do was just sort of stand out in the field and be like, you know, hi or whatever, and be an asshole. And then that was it. And you came out and you kind of announced to everybody that's Rob's last scene, and like that. It was like, you know, I'm a recurring character, so I was not there for seasons in a row. But you all are such a part of my life. You know, it was always, Supernatural was always there for me if I needed to go back home. It was there, you know what I mean? And then to think, oh, wow, okay, it's really gone. This is it. So that for me was personally my most emotional.
The scene where we drive away from you.
Yeah.
And you're on the ground.
Yeah.
And you're yelling, don't leave me.
Don't leave me, yeah.
That was hard.
Yeah.
Because that was really kind of your goodbye scene.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I remember, you know, we're like, screw you, and we get in the car and drive off. But I remember, like, Jared and I got in the car and it was like, we talked about the weight of what we're doing, like driving away, and that was a heavy moment.
That was literally.
And you had never done that.
Yeah.
You had never gone, you know, to that extreme of, you know, begging and pleading and stuff, and so to hear you like screaming out as we're driving away, it was like, oh.
Yeah, because we're all such soldiers really on the same team, really, when it comes down to it. It's hard to leave a man down kind of thing.
It was, it was difficult to do.
Yeah.
Thank you for your question.
Thanks. That was the very last question.
All right, that was it. There's no more questions. That's it, Josie. If you've got a question, write it down, top of the box, everything will be. It's the last question. It's the last question. It's the last question. Come on over here, take it right. Last question. Here we go. That was terrible. That was really awful. No, you know what? Thanks, New Jersey.
Thank you. Misha and Jensen. That's pretty great, huh? All right, thanks everybody. We're gonna take a short break and reconfigure the stage and then come right back out with Ruth Connell. So see you in a second.